G'day, welcome back. Just a quick video today on open source chess software, bit of housekeeping effectively. I said I would do this in earlier videos about this idea of having these fixed game annotations, which I've just used in my video on rook and pawn drawing and winning zones. And the general concept here is that when we are analyzing positions, we are putting annotations in of different sorts, arrows, marking squares, and so on, or indeed corresponding squares, as in the thumbnail. And you'd like those annotations to actually remain there the whole time you're analyzing the position rather than disappearing, because normally it's just for that move and they disappear on the next move. And since I use Scid versus PC a lot, I've just made a couple of modifications to Scid versus PC to enable that to work. And I just want to sort of go through the process, just show you how easy it is to come up with changes to your own code and tools which can be useful, for whatever you're doing. I found this useful, so that's why I did it. Okay, so let's just quickly go to the capture screen now. And once again, we're in Linux in VirtualBox. I'm actually running it a Windows machine, running OBS over the whole thing. This is a demonstration of what I want to see. We've got PGN here. I'll show you that to you. The PGN's containing the information about the markups, basically gold squares. Full means draw the box for different squares, A1, G1, all that sort of stuff, right? But only in the first sort of comment, the opening game comment, and get out of the way. And then as we click through the game, you can see that those gold boxes remain. And this is the way that white wins. Okay, I think we can see the white's going to pick up the pawn, and that will be that. So how do we do that? And I'll just quickly demonstrate. Historically, I've done that in my end games. Let's pick one. And you can see historically I've done, I have this sort of functionality. I mean, I haven't got the full solution there where it copies the comment along. And when you do a new move, I automatically did it to copy the previous comment. But then when you do variations and things, it doesn't work very well. But that's how I've been doing it already in Scid versus PC, just storing the annotations in each move, which is certainly one way of doing it. But that PGN gets pretty big and has some sort of issues in terms of when I'm moving around the board and doing different variations, it doesn't copy them properly and all that sort of stuff. So I wanted a more fixed and working way of doing it. So what we'll do now is I'll show you how it's done, and then we'll come back and look at a couple of examples, which I think are quite useful, because I think the drawing zones, corresponding squares, and actually mapping out piece moves with arrows is another one which can be quite useful. And I'm sure there's many other ways which people might think of using these comments. What I'm going to do is just there's my code window. Look at Scid versus PC. I've done this before on previous videos, so I'm not going to go through the whole process. Scid versus PC, there's what software looks like. It's a open source, very good GUI to work with. And with installation on Linux, you download the code and you compile it. Say, see my earlier videos, and the trick is that you need to do whichever Linux distribution, sudo apt install a bunch of these packages, because it uses TCL or TCL or whatever it's called, which is, I guess you could almost consider an earlier version of maybe JavaScript is the wrong terminology, but it's basically a cross-platform framework for controlling key inputs and writing the screen and so on. It uses that. First of all, just go through the steps which I did, which files is main. So there's main.tcl, which is one of the files you've downloaded. So basically we're just changing the TCL files. And first of all, we set up a fixed comment. That will be the comment that it saves and uses for every move. And then this use fixed comment, I wanted to be able to turn it off. So we'll look into how that works later on. 1 means it's turned on, 0 means it's turned off. It's a bit clunky at the moment, but I'll work out a better way of doing it, right? So we've got these two variables, and then what we do is when you're at the start of the game, you want to load up the fixed comment with that first comment. So we go to line 800. So update board being called all the time is redrawing the screen. So when you run an update board, you got a global fixed comment, global used fixed comment. I'm not 100% sure how that works, but that means use those global variables, not a local variable. And if we're using the fixed comment, I is equal to 1, and we're at the start of the position. This is where TCL uses the underlying C code. It's calling these functions all the time and getting an answer back. So SC pulse is one of the C routines it calls. If the position is at the start, then we set the fixed comment variable with the comment of the start position. So SC underline pos is this generic thing. So we give it a different thing, get comment. So it gets the comment string, loads into fixed comment. So now when you if you're on the opening position of the game, which normally you are, so you can see the bug with this. If you somehow or other got to move 20 in a position without going through the first position, you wouldn't get this. But let's just work with it for now. So you've now got the fixed comment. Every time you go to the start of the game, fixed comment gets loaded with that opening comment. Okay, good. So that's the way it loads it. And then the next thing is how do we use it? And actually a little bit lower down gets used. Once again, update board. So this is lower down an update board. We're redrawing the screen. We want to get the comment. So first of all, we need to, I'm not sure if we have to or not, we use the global variable fixed comment. And it's this function here, string. We concatenate fixed comment with the comment on the actual move you're on. So this means you can have both current annotations and annotations going back to the start of the game, sticks those two strings together and sends it into the comment drawing function. So that's how that works. That's it. That would work, right? And then I thought, actually, I want to not have it working all the time. So what we do now, that's in main, and there's another function here called end.tcl, and just this, I've shown this sort of code before. This is the idea. You first of all, you've got to bind keys to do things. Now, this is not the section we're looking at, but this is what I've done. Just adding. I want more color arrows and I want more color markers, so you just add them in here. I think originally only has button press 2 ones, but add the other ones. So now I've got blue and orange arrows, as well as you can always set the third color if you like, and you got green and red squares, and you can also set another color to whatever you want. So that gives you lots of choices. Down here in the function standard shortcuts, this is the whole thing about what TCL does. It binds keys to a function. So if you press the star key, I'm not too sure if the key is used, so this is just, for instance, use the star key. Then I call this used fixed function. Once again, use these global variables. I think you have to use in this case because they're obviously in the other file, main.tcl, and then if it's fixed comment 0, we make it 1. Fixed comment 1, we make it 0, and then we also clear the fixed comment. It's a bit clunky here, and you have to redraw the screen after that as well, but I'm not bothered with it. I'm just giving you a quick idea of how it might work. So now we can turn it on and off, and at its core, the other changes you made in main are the main ones where it actually takes that first comment and uses it all the time. Okay, now the next step is you do make. And there it is. So actually, there's no changes here because if you do make, if there's the understanding tickle, I've only gradually worked out through time. TCL is just a script file which runs, but it then calls the C function. So if you haven't changed the C code, it doesn't do any compilation. It just it remakes the script. That's how it goes. And then we just run it. Running from command line's a bit odd, but and what I'm going to do is I'll just show you these couple of use cases I've come up with. So we go File. This is my bishop and knight one, where if you look at the PTN, it's now hiding somewhere. This was a bit of code I knocked up earlier, which shows you all the moves of different pieces, different colors. Basically supposed to be visualizing bishop and knight checkmate. And you can see it's just got that one comment at the start and then got a bunch of moves. So the arrow's up there. Now, when I first did this, you'd think there's supposedly this W formation. It doesn't seem, the knight doesn't really seem to do the W in this case, but you can actually see this is showing the checkmate, corral the king. We're going to be forcing it into that corner over on A8. It's not getting away. Maybe that's the W, a little bit of W by the knight. And we just move. That's checkmate. So that was one sort of thing I found quite interesting. And the other one I just demonstrated already was the drawing zones. And then we'll just look at one more thing, which was this one. And same thing, I was looking at some end games, just trying to get a sense of where the pieces got to, and that is where the king moved. Now, a long time ago, I did a video on king hunts, which is I really wanted to find one of the king hunt ones, maybe Vasco Thomas or something like that, and then the orange lines would show you the king march, and you could just sort of watch how it happened during the game. But have a look at this end game. You can see it struggles a bit sometimes because there's so many. Check, and this is one of those end games which is kind of drawn, but if you're white, you play on because you often end up winning. So I think there's a lot of sort of, I've done a couple there, which is plotting the courses of pieces, which is quite interesting, and then drawing zones, winning zones. We have a look. I actually did want to show one more, another drawing zone, where I didn't highlight the whole drawing zone, but this is a draw because the king is outside the drawing zone. Check. Can't make any progress. And once again, the red markers there are now there all the time. When I originally did this, the red markers would disappear as soon as you start playing moves. And then just to demonstrate, I'll do that shift star thing and see if There we go. They've disappeared now. So that's the thing. And if we do shift star again, got to go back to the first move. So obviously I should work that out a little better. I should go back to the first move, get the comment and continue. Okay. So look, I just wanted to show that how easy it is to go and make your own little changes to these software tools and come up with, exactly what you want for your own sort of analysis and basically enjoying the game of chess. So hope you enjoyed that and thank you very much for watching.